There is George McCaskey, the chairman of the Chicago Bears, picking up Ryan Poles at the airport. No private jet service for the Bears. Hey, you can spend your billions however you want. You can even buy jeans if you want to. George McCaskey getting Ryan Poles, the former Chiefs executive who will be the new general manager of the Chicago Bears. I'm glad that the Bears got the GM side of it taken over. This concurrent search between GM and coach, and it felt like they were both progressing, and at some point you got to get your GM unless you're going to change the structure altogether. So Ryan Poles takes over. They continue to search for a coach, and folks in Chicago, I guess guarded is the best way to put it because they've been burned so many times. It's been so long since the team's been relevant. They're going to take a wait-and-see approach to how this all plays out. But I've heard very good things about Ryan Poles, and he gets his opportunity to take a team of his own, and turn it into a winner. Chicago's a great football town. It's kind of halfway between Pittsburgh and New York from a feel and a size standpoint, and that Pittsburgh blue-collar mentality is there, and they love their football team, and it's amazing the team hasn't been better when you consider the support that city and that area give to the organization, Charean.
Yeah, he's only 36, Mike, and he just started in the business in 2009 as a player personnel assistant. But when you think about the guys that he worked underneath in Kansas City, Scott Pioli, John Dorsey, Brett Veach, he has had some really good training in this business. So I think he's well positioned to help the Bears turn this thing around. He's got to like Justin Fields because he's going to be the quarterback at least for one more year for this team to prove that he is the franchise guy. But now he gets a chance to hire his coach, and they can move on from here. They did have the oldest roster in the NFL in 2021, so there is going to be some rebuilding that they're going to have to do, but they do have some key pieces in place, obviously.
Given that Ryan Poles worked for John Dorsey in Kansas City, I hope we don't get any buddy boys in the press conference. I can do without buddy boy. And that was John Dorsey's, pull the string. That was, and there would only be one saying from John Dorsey. It'd be buddy boy. So we'll see what the Bears do there. They're looking at Jim Caldwell, Dan Quinn, Matt Eberflus. They are reportedly the finalists, but they did indeed interview Dennis Allen today for the head coaching position. Now, Ryan Poles was a guy that the Vikings were hoping to interview for a second time. And just like in free agency, sometimes what you do is you keep the guy off the plane. That's what the Bears did. We don't want to let this guy get away. This is our guy. We don't want him to go to Minneapolis. And so the Vikings have to pivot to their plan B or their alternative plan A. I don't think they had made a decision that they definitely want Poles. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah of the Browns is now favored to be the Vikings GM because he was the other finalist. He was the other candidate getting the second interview. He's currently the Browns VP of Football Operations. And again, second interview today. Interview's still not over. And for all we know, the puff of white smoke from the Vikings chimney may be coming at some point before the end of the evening, letting us know that the Vikings have their general manager too, Charean.
Man, he is such an interesting guy. He's 40 years old, Mike, but when you think about it, he played basketball at Princeton, wasn't a football player. He got an economics degree from Princeton. He worked on Wall Street for a long time, master's degree from Stanford in economics. It's really the same path as Vikings COO Andrew Miller, who's leading the search, took, so it's no surprise that he's their choice. 40 years old, spent 7 seasons as the 49ers director of football research and development. And he's an analytics guy, so he's going to get his chance to be a GM at, again, a young age, and he'll get a chance to hire a head coach and see what they can do with this roster. But this is a good team he steps into with a chance to win right away, Mike.
And in Minnesota, the question that hovers over everything is the quarterback. What are they going to do with Kirk Cousins? That's going to be one of the first decisions that the coach with the GM will have to make if it is indeed Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. And the Vikings, like the Bears, have been doing the concurrent search. So they've already interviewed plenty of candidates, and now it's up to the GM. And look, it's not just the GM's decision. It'll be a decision made in concert with others. But every general manager, when that person becomes a general manager, that person has a list of coaches that are the preferred match based upon an entire lifetime or less than a lifetime if you're only 40 or 36, as the case of these two guys are. But you have your list that you've worked based upon the people you've encountered, the people you've seen. You're scouting the coaches the same way you scout the players. And a good personnel executive is always scouting coaches along with scouting players and also scouting other personnel executives that you may want to have work in your organization at some point in the future. So Kwesi Adofo-Mensah will have his list. The question is, where's the intersection between who he wants and who the Vikings are comfortable hiring, and we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the coach also would want to have to go there and be part of the organization. So once that gets rolling, then both the Bears and the Vikings can get about the process of hiring coaches. It really is amazing, though, Charean. I was talking to somebody earlier today. I mean, the reality is there is no must-have candidate. There is no one out there that is sparking a land rush. There's no, I got to go get this guy before someone else does. Like, if somebody else gets him, that's fine. I got plenty of others I could hire. I'm not going to rush into this just to get somebody that I think may be ready to be hired by somebody else. So everyone's being patient. They've always said they want to be patient. This year they're being patient.
Yeah, first year we've ever seen this, Mike. Just amazing that we haven't had one head coach hired yet. And this is now, he will become the second GM hired and a minority. So that's good news there. Only still one one black head coach in the NFL, and that's Mike Tomlin. Of course, Ron Rivera and Robert Saleh also are minority coaches. But this is a step in the right direction. The Browns are going to get a draft pick out of this if the Vikings do indeed follow through and hire him as expected.
Yeah, as the Chiefs will as well. That's one of the incentives that was created a couple of years ago. That's the only incentive that ultimately was created. Yep. At one point, there was going to be an incentive to actually do the hire, and there was some real pushback because it makes it hard to be the person who gets the job if you think that your team was in some way incentivized to do it. And as Tony Dungy said at the time, there shouldn't be an incentive to do the right thing. The incentive now is to develop and promote and encourage and work with candidates who are minorities to help them get the opportunities. And if you grow and develop minority candidates, you will be rewarded on the back end.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.